Hello and welcome to Government in Action. We have here in studio to share with us as we reflect on the 3 years of the PVPC administration in office from 2020 to present. In studio is the Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable Retired Brigadier Mark Phillips. Mr. Phillips, thank you for taking the time out from your busy schedule. I understand that you are acting presently as president, and so I know your responsibility very tight. So I must say thanks, and maybe you can say something to the people of Guyana.
Okay, Mr. Lennox Gaspar, it's indeed once again a pleasure and honor to be on this program and to be interviewed by you, a fellow Lindenite, and to the people of Guyana. Again, we have another opportunity for me as your Prime Minister to communicate to you the policies and from the government side, especially pertaining to the areas that I'm responsible for.
Very well. And we get right with the programming into our question. According to the Bureau of Statistics, the growth rate for the information and communication sector have moved from 0.6% in 2020 and jumped to a starting growth rate of 8.3% and 8.4% in 2021 and 2022, respectively. Mr. Prime Minister, what accounted for the massive growth that we have seen there?
Well, the growth rate that you mentioned there is not surprising to me, because one of our manifesto promises to the people of Guyana is that we will liberalize the telecommunication sector. And we took office on the 2nd of August 2020, and on the 5th of October 2020, I was the minister, your Prime Minister, who signed the order, the commencement order, liberalizing the telecommunication sector. So whatever growth in ICT is related to a now liberalized telecommunication sector in Guyana.
So what recent digital solution have been introduced to the Guyanese this year, and what more can they expect?
Well, the most recent decision was the announcement by His Excellency the President of the removal of tax on cell phones. That itself has a positive effect on ICT. And before sometime, I think 2 years ago, we've removed all income tax on data. All right. In terms of the telecommunications sector, the three main operators, all of them are being on a expansive program, right, expanding their infrastructure throughout the length and breadth of Guyana, connecting as many Guyanese as possible, all right, telephone, internet, etc. So more and more we have more Guyanese are embracing the use of ICT for every aspect of their life. Whether it be students studying, they can now do their research online. They can actually attend classes online. We have virtual classes that are being conducted online. We're just coming out of COVID-19. And one of the positives of COVID-19, and how many positives? One of the positives of COVID-19 is the accelerated digitalization, right? In the sense that almost everything that we do today, as a result of COVID, we were forced to do through greater use of ICT. And that itself is responsible for all that you mentioned earlier.
I do think that the COVID had that positive impact, because even the seniors were forced to get involved into the technology.
Exactly.
And get in the game. Sir, what there have been several initiatives in terms of training Guyanese. This is in the ICT, since we are on that. For instance, the Coders Initiative, Guyanese Girls Code, the ICT Apprenticeship Program, among others. Could you tell us how have these initiatives advanced?
Well, these initiatives, as you mentioned, advance quite nicely in the sense that in many cases we started small, right, as pilot programs or programs that were restricted to Georgetown, and now these programs are being expanded to all the administrative regions of Guyana, in a sense that when we expand to, let's say, 2 or 3 regions, we have requests from other regions to have these programs. So basically we have gone nationally with all these programs, and we have soon to be rolled out programs aimed at adults. Not only the coding that you mentioned, the 150,000 coding training programs aimed mainly at young people. We have training now a approach that is directed at adults, because we want more adults to learn to use ICT in their daily activities. So whether you're 6, whether you're 65, or you're approaching 90, and you still want to learn about ICT, we have a program for you.
Wonderful. The National Data Management Authority has set up internet connectivity hubs and hotspots across Guyana. What have been the success in these areas?
Well, the whole aim of going into the community is to get more people within the community, not only to be aware that they have an ICT connection center there, but to utilize it. And more, what we will do is expand the bandwidth so people can do more with the ICT hubs that are located in their community. We would like to see people using it mainly for training and, to conduct business and some amount of communication, but not to abuse it, okay? But at the same time, we are working with the providers so we can increase the bandwidth. So, as I said, more and more people can be connected at the same time.
Wonderful. On the aspect of gas, or should I say energy, the gas to energy project is on the transformative agenda for the countrywide in terms of development. What is the key objective of this project for Guyanese, and to date, what have been the major accomplishment towards this objective?
Well, the key objective, everything falls into, the president talks over and over about energy security. So that is the key objective. Energy security in the sense that once and for all, we must have reliable, stable, and relatively inexpensive electricity available to the people of Guyana. For far too long, all of us, including myself, would have, experienced everything negative you can talk about in terms of the electricity supply, especially in the coast, especially the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system. The gas to energy project is the signal project, the signal transformative project that we had promised the people in our manifesto. And I'm happy to be part of the set of ministers and planners who will deliver on that promise to the people of Guyana. And by the end of 2024, we want our people, especially those who live in the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system, to benefit from electricity produced through the gas to energy project. We're not only laying pipelines to bring gas to shore. You know that we're building the plant to generate the electricity, all right? And the liquefied gas plant too will be constructed. In addition to that, we've recently signed a contract to rebuild the transmission and distribution and control substations to evacuate the power in a stable manner so the people who live and who do business along the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system can benefit from stable, reliable, and cheaper electricity, as promised in our manifesto.
Wonderful. While the overall plan to switch to more renewable energy sources with the gas to energy project starting the transition, what upgrades have been made to the existing system to ensure the frequency of blackouts is reduced?
Well, as we approach the gas to energy project and the new construction, new transmission system, we also, in the short term, continue the maintenance of the existing transmission and distribution system. So that in itself is bringing relief to people. And more we have improved our communication strategy to sensitize people that yes, Guyana is in a construction boom. You know, there's so many roads being constructed, so many drains are being cleared, you know, houses are being constructed, so there's a lot of movement of equipment. And we want, as much as possible, those who operate in the other sectors to be careful as they operate near to the transmission and distribution system. Because many of the outages that people experience now is as a result of a disruption in the transmission and distribution system. Simply put, some vehicle crashing into a power pole, that has an effect on the transmission and distribution system. So more and more, we need to communicate to people to stay away as much as possible, safe distance from the transmission distribution system, and we'll continue to troubleshoot and deal with all problems associated with transmission distribution. We're satisfied, GPL is satisfied, that at present we have the capacity to generate electricity, and we're soon installing additional reserve to ensure that enough electricity, electrical power is produced to the people. But the transmission and distribution system is the one, the area that tends to give us a lot of problem.
I hear you. Sir, budget 2023 allocated 1.8 billion for 30,000 solar photovoltaic light system in the hinterland and riverine communities. Describe the successes of this undertaking and the benefits citizens can expect.
Well, you know, the 30,000 solar household systems is really ties into our policy to bridge the energy divide. Those 30,000 household systems are for distribution to our hinterland communities. Some 6,000 thereabout are expected in the country anytime now, and it is our hope to start distribution of the first set the remainder of July and into August. And as the additional systems are delivered, we will continue the distribution. It is our intention that before the end of the year, once all the systems are in place in Guyana, we will distribute through the length and breadth of Guyana to people in the hinterland so they could benefit from this solar household system. And you could recall that we have had a similar program before where people in those communities benefited from the first set of solar systems that we brought in, but this is a more improved solar panel as part of the system, so they will be benefiting from a more improved system which can give electricity. I think it can run a fan too, okay, and run about 2 bulbs, so they can charge their phones and so in those remote villages.
Wonderful. The Civil Defense Commission has the robust task of responding to major disaster. A serious undertaking in the wake of climate change and responding to unfavorable incident as we embark on exploration efforts. Sir, how has the capacity of the Commission increased to cater for the natural disaster that frequent Guyana?
Well, the Civil Defense Commission has acquitted themselves fairly well from the time I became Prime Minister. I would have been in charge of the Civil Defense Commission. And you know, we had floods, for example, in 2021, and the Civil Defense Commission was in the forefront of bringing relief to Guyanese in all the affected areas. The Civil Defense Commission played an important role as part of the task force when we had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. The Civil Defense Commission will continue to be strengthened, so they will continue to play an important role in dealing with all aspects of disasters, because you know, disasters is more like a disruption of the development process. So it is necessary that we have an organization like the Civil Defense Commission, and we have also decentralized the operation of the Civil Defense Commission. We have a facility, for example, in Region 9, and we have been training all the regional democratic councils to deal with aspects of disaster response, disaster relief operations. So many of the emergencies within regions can be dealt with at the regional level with the support of the Civil Defense Commission, which operates at a central level. So the development is ongoing. Is the intention to bring legislation to legislate the work, the establishment, the structure, and the work of the Civil Defense Commission before the end of the year. And even the organization, the existing organization of the Civil Defense Commission, to ensure key personnel are recruited to staff that organization.
I know this is one of your babies because you work closely with them, even in the distribution and during the period whenever they have to do any distribution for flood-affected persons and so on. So I know. The CDC commenced the assessment and completion of rainwater harvesting for flood-affected communities. What are, or should I say, what were the outcome, and how has government improved its response capability?
Well, that's an assessment done by the Civil Defense Commission in conjunction, I think, with the Ministry of Agriculture,
Yes.
National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, and from that they will sensitize farmers especially as to how they can better deal with, as you mentioned, rainwater conservation. But more than that, we are in a period now where we are entering what you call the El Nino weather phenomenon, and that itself is predicted. As predicted, we'll have a dry spell. So more and more the importance of conservation of our water resources will come to the forefront, not only for discussion, but for actual practice and support, not only by the Civil Defense Commission, by the other authorities, especially from the Ministry of Agriculture, National Drainage and Irrigation Authority. So water conservation, water resource management is important, especially at this time in the land of many waters. As we, at this interview, I'd like to go back to this whole discussion of the energy divide and to inform the Guyanese public that there are many projects that we're conducting in the hinterland to bridge the energy divide. You know, we have the community solar projects where we're setting up the solar system that would run electricity to medical centers, to schools, to learning resource centers, to police stations, and all the important government buildings in every community. At Ret'd, for example, in Region 9, we commissioned a solar farm. I think it was late last year. Just over 1 megawatt of power is be provided through solar energy at Ret'd. We have started the microgrid projects, the mini hydro projects at Mokomoko and Kumu. Those are the two projects that are ongoing, Mokomoko and Kumu. And that will lead to, by the end of the Mokomoko and Kumu projects, we would have achieved energy security for Ret'd itself. And of course, we'll have ongoing microgrid and solar projects for the other outlying areas and villages. At Bartica, we've also commissioned just over 1 megawatt of solar power coming from the solar farm at Bartica. The same thing is achieved at Bartica in the terms of energy security. And ongoing, you know, we have the solar farm being constructed at Madhya. We have a solar farm being constructed at Legwan. And then we have the bigger project, where 33 plus megawatts of solar power will be installed at locations in Berbice, Essequibo, and in Region 10, particularly in Linden. So we're on track in terms of bridging the energy divide, in terms of ensuring reliable energy is provided to the people throughout Guyana, and meeting our targets of converting from the use of non-renewable fossil fuel to greater use of renewable energy in keeping with our low carbon development strategy 2030.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Mark Anthony Phillips, the Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Thank you for taking the time out. This has been Government in Action, and I've been your host, Lennox Gasper. Until next time, thank you for watching.